Good evening and welcome to the Carnegie Town Hall. This meeting of the Sioux Falls City Council will begin in a few moments. The City Council meets on the first, second, and third Tuesday of each month at 7 o'clock p.m. and serves as the city's policy-making and legislative body. Each meeting is governed by Robert's Rules of Order unless those guidelines conflict with city ordinance or charter. City Council meetings offer an opportunity for citizens to speak directly to their elected representatives. Those in attendance are invited to address the Council during the public input segment at the beginning of the agenda. At that time, any issue that is not subject to formal action later in the agenda can be addressed. Testimony that concerns a resolution or an ordinance's second reading is only allowed when those specific agenda items are being addressed by the Council. When addressing the Council, citizens should speak directly into the microphones at the podium and state their names for the record after being recognized by the Chair. To accommodate and respect all viewpoints, citizen comments are limited by ordinance to no more than 5 minutes each. Comments should be respectful and focused on providing new information that will benefit the Council's deliberative process. The Chair reserves the right to limit the number of speakers. City Council meetings are broadcast live on CityLink and online at www.siouxfalls.org. Information regarding the City Council, its committees, meetings, briefings, and members is available by visiting www.siouxfalls.org/council or by calling the Council office at 605-367-8085. Thank you for your interest in Sioux Falls City Government.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to tonight's City Council meeting. It is Monday, October 17th. We'll start our meeting by introducing you to your City Council.
Council Member Staley.
Here.
Erickson. Erpenbach. Kiley.
Here.
Neitzert.
Here.
Rolfing.
Here.
Selberg.
Here.
Starr.
Very good. Thanks so much, councilors. Appreciate it. In Sioux Falls, we start our City Council meetings with an invocation. And we've got Pastor Samuel Getacho of the Gospel of Mercy Church. Pastor Samuel, welcome. It's so nice to have you here tonight. What we'd ask you to do is to stand for the pastor's invocation and then remain standing for our pledge of allegiance. Pastor Samuel?
Okay. Thank you. Will you bow your head with me for prayer, please? Dear living and loving God, I would like to thank you on behalf of who are gathering here tonight. Thank you for your love, kindness, and abundant blessings. Heavenly Father, I thank you for your presence here, and thank you for Mayor Mike Huder and the council members of our great city. I also thank you for, Father God, for the tireless public servants. Pour your blessing upon them, Father God. Dear Heavenly Father, as it is written on your word, there is no authority except from you. I believe you are the one who entrusted our mayor and the city council. Lord, would you grant them wisdom, peace, joy, and harmony when they work together for the advancement of the great city and its citizens, please. Lord, I also ask you to bless tonight's agenda. Father God, bless by your presence. Be with them, guide them. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine on you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up his face on you and give you peace. In Jesus Christ's name above all names we pray. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. punctual for him.
Well, Council, thank you. That was a beautiful prayer. We'll now start we'll look at the consent agenda. Councilors, any motions or changes to that?
Move to approve.
Second, Rolfing.
Council Vice Chair Kiley's made a motion to approve our consent agenda, seconded by Council Chair Rolfing. If there's no discussion, a roll call vote, please.
Council members Staley,
Yes.
Kiley,
Yes.
Neitzert,
Yes.
Rolfing,
Yes.
Selberg,
Yes.
Starr.
Yes.
That has passed 6-0. Folks, our regular agenda tonight, any changes to that, motions?
Move for approval.
And I'll second again.
There is a motion to approve our regular agenda tonight, seconded as well. If there's no discussion, a roll call vote, please.
Council members Staley,
Yes.
Kiley,
Yes.
Neitzert,
Yes.
Rolfing,
Yes.
Selberg,
Yes.
Starr.
Yes.
That has passed 6-0. Thank you, Council. Folks, welcome to tonight's City Council meeting. We're glad to have you here. This is the public input portion of our meeting. It gives you an opportunity to engage the council really on any topic that is of importance to you. If it is an agenda item that's a second reading later on, we'd ask you to wait for that time. But if it's anything else, just come forward. Really two things. We'd ask you to keep your comments to 5 minutes or less, please. And please introduce yourself to the people of our town. Welcome.
Good evening, Council, Mayor. How you doing this evening? My name is Mark Blackburn. This is Denise Tucker. We're both executive members of a newly found nonprofit organization called Establishing Sustainable Connections. And with Escape, what we try to do is we try to really engage our community in proactive conversations and dialogues on race, ethnicity, diversity to components, and all of the above. What we do is we have platforms of empowerment for individuals in our city to get closer to one another and to, again, establish those sustainable connections. Just wanted to give you input on a great opportunity to learn and understand our Muslim brothers and sisters in terms of their faith. We have a great program coming on Thursday night. That is Thursday, October 20th, at the Downtown Library in Meeting Room A, and it starts at 6:45. And just a nice panel of the experience our Muslim brothers and sisters have in Sioux Falls and what we can do to be proactive and dispelling some of the stereotypes that nationwide we hear and we try to understand, not understand. So this is a great opportunity for the public. It's open to the public. We'll encourage each and every one of you to come and attend and engage in some good dialogue to help our city move forward and be proactive. Thank you very much for your time.
You bet. Mark, Denise, thank you very much as well. Appreciate it. Folks, anybody else want to engage the council? Welcome.
Robert Colby, Sioux Falls. We're going through the election process here, and there's a lot of things going on, and a lot of us are mulling over our choices. I have a sister that's a diehard Trump fan, and she's my baby sister. But if somebody would have said to her what has been recorded as our candidate for president would have said, why, being a baby sister, he would have had a very flat nose, and the second thing that would have happened, he'd have been on the floor in a fetal position, groaning, and then I probably would have gone to church as he would have and asked for forgiveness for the endeavor. It's hard for us, many of us, to try to figure out who are we going to vote for, and I thought probably the best way to look at it is we all have weird families. Which one of the two political candidates for president would you like to have show up at your family reunion and know that they weren't going to give you any money? That's worth thinking about. But all politics being local, I happen to think of something that went with this, and I'm here to kind of promote that the city put into its future budget the construction of this archives building that has been thought about now for the better part of 30 years, because some of us are getting a little long in the tooth, and we might have some things that would go well in that particular collection. And I brought along a piece here. But this is special. It's not because it was a campaign shirt of mine. It's signed by Al Gore, Bill Clinton, Elizabeth Dole, George Bush, Dan Quayle, George S. Mickelson, Larry Pressler, and somewhere down here is a guy by the name of Mike Wagner. Anyhow, all this was collected in Minnehaha County. At one point, if nothing else, we were probably the navel of political endeavor in the United States, or we thought we were. But this is something that ought to be in the collection of our fine archive building. I was at a presentation the other day, and after looking at this, I thought, well, it's better than I could put it on eBay, and it would probably garner a fair amount of money. But at a meeting I was at, Teddy Roosevelt had a great quote that I think we all need to take to heart. The opposite of progress is Congress.
Ms. Colby, thank you. Appreciate it. Folks, anybody else want to engage the council? David, welcome.
Greetings. My name is David Sokaitis, and I'm here to talk to you today about push bumpers, whatever those happen to be. So first we ought to figure out what they are. It's a little thingy that you stick on the front of a police car so that you can push other things around. Now, from what I can tell, they're pretty common on the Sioux Falls Police Department, but not very common for the county sheriff's department. So let's get a picture out and take a look. That's a push bumper. It's a metal frame, it goes on the front of a car. It's not soft and comfy, it's hard and bumpy, and it'll protect the front of your car if you bash into something. Okay, so you can see that they're pretty common here in Sioux Falls Police Force. This is, I took this picture just a few blocks from here down on Minnesota Avenue. But county sheriff, hey, I guess they don't need them. All right, so let's try to figure out what they're good for. Well, if you're gonna be in a police car and you need to push somebody else's car out of the way, your car will be safe. If you bash into a deer in downtown Sioux Falls, your car will be safe. I've talked to a couple of police officers and they say they never use these things. So I don't know what we have them for. Now, I've got a couple of minor concerns about these push bumpers, and that's just, you know, it's money. Like, if we never use them, why bother? Why spend the money? Why increase the maintenance costs and all that kind of stuff? But the real concern is all about accidents. Now, if you look at modern vehicles, when they smash into stuff, they crumble. And they do that so that everybody's safer. If you accidentally bash into, say, a pedestrian, you want a nice, smooth contour in the front of the car so the pedestrian might be able to get back up again. If you bash into the side of a car, you don't want to make holes in the other car. You just want to dent it nice and uniformly so that the people inside the other car are a little bit safer. Well, now that's the way that cars are designed, but these push bumpers totally invalidate that design by putting something hard and pokey on the front of a car. And you've got an increase of death for any kind of accidents. I came across a quote in Wikipedia that said in Europe they cause a certain number of deaths and serious accidents. So, you know, I don't see what we have these things for. They're a risk. And I don't, you know, if we don't use them, what's the point? So again, like, what's the point? I guess if you're on the police force, you'll say, I need it to keep my car safe. But motivation is different from rhetoric. Maybe the real motivation is this be tough kind of attitude on the part of the police. They want to be strong and aggressive and dominant. And, you know, there's this whole militarization of police going on. And, you know, it's not a tank and it's not a armored personnel carrier, but it's still more militaristic than this nice, soft, relatively comfortable bumper on a car. So I guess that's the motivation. But what's the point? They're not cost effective, for one. Now, if you have 10 cars or 20 cars with these things, that's maybe $500,000, $1,000 a piece. And if one car gets damaged, would have been damaged without it, that's cost less to fix the one car that would have been damaged than to outfit your whole police force with these somewhat dangerous devices. And as usual, I get to make a recommendation, and that is to mellow out, reform things a little bit. And you can, like you are city councilors, you are free to amend the city budget such that new purchases do not include push bumpers. So that's my recommendation. Make that amendment. And you're also free to amend the city budget to take the ones that you have and get rid of them and make the roads safer, because you don't need them, don't use them. All right. And with that, hey, good evening.
Thank you, David. Anybody else want to engage the council? Welcome. Sir, come on up. Scott, go ahead, sir.
Scott Arisman, Sioux Falls. Just to kind of piggyback on what Bob said there. It's important. I hope everyone goes out and votes, if they haven't already. There's 10 very important amendments on the ballot that we need to vote on in legislative districts and county commission and some other stuff. Unfortunately, the presidential race in South Dakota really doesn't matter to us. But I know a lot of people get excited about it, and it always makes me laugh. You know, last municipal election, 12%. The registered voters showed up to vote for the actual people who determine who pay most of our taxes and make most of our laws. But for some reason, voting for the president seems to be more important, even though that vote doesn't really matter. But please go and vote. I wanted to say I've been watching a lot of discussion, a lot of news media. Our indoor pool is finally here, and it's fantastic. And I went and toured it. It's wonderful. It's $24 million. It's going to cost $1.5 million a year to be there. I've accepted this. I hope everybody buys a pool pass. The more people using that pool, the less I have to subsidize it. And I say, go out there and get them. It's done. The pool is built. So I don't understand, now that the pool is finished and it's there, it's not going anywhere, we're not going to close it, we're going to subsidize it for several years, get it going, that we still have to peddle the same falsehoods that we peddled during the election, where there wasn't an indoor pool on the ballot. And that's the one thing that I've been hearing lately, that there was an indoor pool on the ballot. There's no indoor pool on the ballot. We voted against an outdoor pool. That's it. The only people that decided that we had an indoor pool, a $24 million expenditure, was the mayor, the city council at the time, and the Parks Board. The citizens didn't cast one single vote for an indoor pool. Let's correct that right now. Second thing I'd like to correct. We do have debt from the pool. We took I believe a $13 million payback from our levy bonds. We took that money when we should have used it to pay off the levy bonds, and we used it to build the indoor pool. That money needs to be paid back, which in turn makes it debt. So now that we have an indoor pool, and as I said, I hope everybody goes to it. I hope there's lines outside that place. I hope traffic is backed up for miles. Let's stop telling falsehoods about how it was done. It doesn't do any good. You won. You got your pool. Why do we have to keep lying to people about it? There was no citizen vote. There's debt to be paid back. I just wanted to correct that tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Appreciate that. Welcome, folks.
My name is Kevin Case, and I'm here as the president of the Church Council of Augustana Lutheran Church. We're in the process of appealing the decision of the Planning Commission for our conditional use permit in our hope to build a new sign for our church. So I think that'll be coming at a future meeting, but I wanted to at least introduce the council to what the process has been doing. It's been a year-long process here at the church. And I'd like to thank Diane and the planning department as she's kind of helped us through this process. But admittedly, I don't think we did a very good job in front of the planning commission with regard to all of the reasons that we think the sign is appropriate for both the neighborhood as well as the church. As I mentioned, it's been a year-long process with the church. And our main reason, our only reason really, is to communicate with the neighborhood and the community of the various events that we host to support the fundamental needs of our neighbors. Anything from free groceries that we provide to free community meals and the opportunity to grow in their faith. But this is a picture of our original sign that is as it is right now. It's original to the building as far as we can tell, which is 1924. And it has, the metal framing around it has rusted through to the point that it's impossible to change it or adjust it in any way. So we went through the process, and to make sure that we're a good neighbor, because we are in a residential neighborhood, that we've considered several different designs. And by code, we can have a sign that's as big as 50 square feet. Our sign that we ended up deciding on is only 28 square feet, which is not significantly different from the original sign that you see today. I'll change the next one. One of the designs that satisfies all the sign codes is this one, which would be a manually changed sign, similar to what we have today, where you'd slide in the letters manually to change the message. At the end of the day, we felt that it would be difficult to continually get volunteers to change the sign, and then when it comes to poor weather, that's really more of a hassle than anything else. Finally, we decided on having an electronic message board, which kind of brings us in front of the planning, or the planning commission, needing the electronic message board because we are in a residential area. Again, this would allow us to better communicate with the neighbors about what's going on at the church, and it alters the placement of it in the land. You can see it's perpendicular to the street rather than parallel to the street like our existing sign. And because we border the Cathedral Historic District, we're on 235 North Prairie. So we border the Cathedral District, and in wanting to be appropriate, we designed the sign to include elements of the building, of our original 1924 building, including the brick base, which mirrors the foundation stones on our building, and the dark red color mirrors the color of the brick on the building. Through the process, we held 2 neighborhood meetings over the summer to get input from the neighbors, as well as answer any questions or address any concerns they had. Between those 2 meetings in total, we had 3 non-church members come, only 3, and so it was difficult to communicate with the neighbors or to work with them in order to kind of solve any issues that they may have. But I think that we've done a very good job in trying to design the sign in a way that would be appropriate for the neighborhood. And we'd be willing, in order to continue to be a good neighbor, be willing to have conditions placed on our permit, such as making sure it dims as the light goes down. As the sun goes down and it gets darker, the sign would dim so it's not nearly as bright, and even to have it turn off at 10 p.m. So it's not going all night long. And then in addition to that, even limit the animation of it, which could potentially improve the safety measures around having that sign in a residential area. So I wanted to introduce that to you this evening, and look forward to having the opportunity to discuss it further. And I'd be willing to answer any questions you may have, but I don't think this is the forum for that. So,
Kevin, we appreciate it. Thank you very much. Folks, do anybody else want to engage the council yet tonight? Welcome, sir. Sir, go right ahead.
My name is Tim Reason.
Hi, Tim.
And I have a picture to show you guys. Nope, wrong one. Do you have the picture? With my arm. There you go. This is from the Sioux Falls Police Department. This happened in April of this year. It happened at 111 East 10th Street, down at the clock tower at the Sioux Area Metro Bus Station. What happened was I passed out in the bus station because I got out of the hospital the day before, and I got barred for 6 months. And it resulted in me saying that they were not arresting me, they were not detaining me. I said, I'm free to go. They swirled me around, they grabbed me really hard, put one set of cuffs on me, and actually cut me open. Tracy Smith from the Public Defender's Office is the one that took this picture. I went down to Sergeant Ward, filed a complaint. I tried to call DCI. DCI would not get involved. 6 months later, I come back into town, and I was stranded about to come back down, and I asked what happened with this report. And I got told by Sergeant Ward and the captain that they deemed there was no excessive force used, so they let it go. I went to the mayor's office this morning and asked for a meeting with Mayor Heather. And every time I asked for a meeting with Mayor Heather, they get told no, I get denied. I had the former mayor and the former chief of police tell me to get the fuck out of town.
Tim.
Sorry about that.
Tim, you're officially done. Thank you. Folks, do anybody else want to engage the council? Welcome, Tim. And folks, the reason that I asked Tim to discontinue is that I think you all heard, and I apologize you had to hear that swear word. We're not going to tolerate that. I don't care what the public testimony is. If you can't be respectful, if you can't be halfway as professional, you're done. It's the way it's going to be. Tim, welcome, sir.
Tim Stangus, Sioux Falls. I stayed at home a couple weeks. I had car trouble 1 week when it was raining. And last week I thought, my sister's birthday, and I thought, I'm going to sit at home and watch the city council meeting. As I'm watching it, I just seen that there's a lot of dysfunction up here. When you watch how people treat other people, it's just a disgrace. In the morning, I went to work. I had a couple people that were at the meeting that were garbage haulers. And they asked me, first thing they asked me is, what's wrong with the mayor and the city council? Told them, I said, what do you mean by that? They seen how Teresa was being treated, which they thought was very rude. And I seen it on TV too. I always tell you guys, watch how you act on TV because people see it. Mr. Kiley, the looks that you were giving Teresa that night was, it was just unbelievable. City council is hired by the citizens of Sioux Falls. They're here to be for the citizens of Sioux Falls and to speak for the citizens of Sioux Falls. They're not here to work for the city of Sioux Falls or the mayor's office. A lot of people realize that there's a few city council people that probably shouldn't be here today because there was either people that are on the city council or families of the city council or the mayor that gave money to the other side of the campaign. And then they want you to be a team player after everything is done, after they've spent their money on the other campaign to have the other person, well, hopefully they beat you, but the sad part about it is I think the other candidate that ran against Teresa was anywhere from $30,000 to $40,000, and he ended up on a committee. I guess that's what you get when you can't be on the city council. You're automatically put on a committee. Dysfunction. You can laugh all you want, Rex, because you're a big problem in this city council too. And I can point you out because you are laughing on how I'm talking. But the thing is, the citizens of Sioux Falls realize that you guys need 4 votes. And he was your 4th vote. You need 4 rubber stampers. And then the mayor can take over on the 5th. The citizens of Sioux Falls have seen that so many times that it isn't even funny. Realize that you work for the citizens of Sioux Falls, not the 10 people that you talk to. Mr. Dennison, would you like to speak? Very good.
Is there anybody who wanted to speak to the council? Anybody? Last call. Mr. Danson, would you like to speak? Item 22.
Item 22, new 2016-17 retail malt beverage license for Estetica Unisex Mia LLC, Salon Mia, 1122 East 8th Street, cup not required. Item 23, request to add video lottery terminals to the retail malt beverage license for Jasmine Sumic, Jay-Z Cafe Bar and Grill, 313 North Dakota Avenue. Item 24, transfer of 2016-17 retail malt beverage license for Macho Nacho LLC, Macho Nacho Mexican Grill, 3308 East 10th Street, to Jackie's Restaurant LLC, Jackie's Restaurant, 3308 East 10th Street, cup not required, pending final inspections per Health and Fire. Item 25, transfer of 2016 retail wine license for Macho Nacho LLC, Macho Nacho Mexican Grill, 3308 East 10th Street, to Jackie's Restaurant LLC, Jackie's Restaurant, 3308 East 10th Street, cup not required, pending final inspections per Health and Fire. Item 26, transfer of 2016 packaged liquor license from Ridank LLC, Food and Fuel, 4701 West 12th Street, to Double B LLC, Food and Fuel, 4701 West 12th Street. Item 27, renewal of 2017 packaged liquor license for Double B LLC, Food and Fuel, 4701 West 12th Street. Item 28, special one-day wine license request for Democratic Forum of Sioux Falls to be operated at the History Club, 758 South Phillips Avenue for a fundraiser social on October 27, 2016. Item 29, special one-day malt beverage and special one-day wine licenses for the Multicultural Center of Sioux Falls, 515 North Main Avenue for an International Chef Cook-Off fundraiser on December 3, 2016. Item 30, special one-day malt beverage and special one-day wine licenses for the Multicultural Center of Sioux Falls, 515 North Main Avenue for the Decadence in Chocolate fundraiser on February 4, 2017.
Tom, thank you very much. Welcome, Jamie.
Good evening, Jamie Palmer with licensing. Item 22 is a request for a retail malt beverage at a local salon. They just wish to serve malt beverages to their patrons. Item 23 is a request to add video lottery to a current retail beer license holder. Item 24 and 25 are a transfer due to a change of ownership, and this would be a third location for this particular applicant. Items 26 and 27 go together, and one is a transfer of ownership, and the other is the renewal of that same license. Item 28, I would need to request an amendment to this item to change the date, as the applicant called last week and said that their event has changed till November 3rd. And items 29 and 30 are special events that are being held at the Multicultural Center. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Jamie, appreciate that. Thank you. Council, any motions or changes? It looks like, Jamie, at least we need one amendment. Yes, thank you, Councilor.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor. Appreciate that as well. Any motions or discussion?
Mr. Mayor, I'd move to amend item number 28, replacing October 27th, 2016 with November 3rd, 2016.
Second, Star.
Thank you, Councilor Starr. Appreciate that for the second. And Councilor Chair Rolfing, thank you for making the motion. Any discussion on that? A roll call vote, please, on the amendment as proposed.
Council Member Staley?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Kiley?
Yes.
Neitzert?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Starr?
Yes.
Councilors, thank you. The amendment is passed 7-0. We now have an amended motion. Any other discussion? Yes, Councilor Starr.
Yes. Jamie, I just had a more of a general question. It seems like we're getting more and more of these type requests for one days and temporary events. Is there a limit, one, how many times a location could have a temporary permit before they may consider or need to have a full license? And then two, do they, how far in advance can they apply for a one-day or a temporary license?
There isn't a limit at this time. However, there is a stipulation in state law that the council can limit the number per applicant. I just don't believe that we do that at this time, but you can. And as far as a limit, as far as how soon they can, I always tell them the sooner the better. If you know your event is scheduled, go ahead and request the license, because otherwise sometimes they wait too long and then I don't have time to get it done. So
Makes sense. Thank you.
Councilor Starr, thank you as well. Council, if there are no other items to discuss, we'll vote on the amended motion. A roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Staley?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Neitzert?
Yes.
Rolfing? Yes. Selberg?
Yes.
Starr?
Yes.
Councilors, thank you. That has passed 7-0. Item 31.
Second reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, amending Chapter 57 of the Code of Ordinances of the city pertaining to garbage and construction and demolition haulers.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. Let me get to my slide here. Proposed ordinance would require commercial and demolition.
If you could just introduce yourself to the people.
Dustin Hanson, landfill superintendent for the City of Sioux Falls.
Thank you.
The proposed ordinance will require commercial construction and demolition waste haulers to be licensed under the current Chapter 57. This will clear up some confusion before whether C&D haulers had to be licensed. With that, I'll take with any questions.
Well, thank you very much. Folks, this is a second reading, so you have an opportunity to engage the council on this before they vote. Is there anybody who wanted to do that? Welcome. David?
Now, I'm David Sokaitis, just to get the introduction in. And one thing I've noticed while reading certain city ordinances is that we've legislated what's called barriers to entry. Now that means, you've got a fee for this and a schedule for that and a requirement for this and a requirement for that. And more of these things that you add up, the harder it is for some guy with a truck to start a new business. Now, I'm not saying that all barriers to entry are helpful or unhelpful. I just want us all to be aware that we have them and they make it harder for people to get going. So like, if some guy wants to do some commercial construction and get a permit, he's probably got to get $1 million of liability insurance. Well, for some small guy starting business, that's going to be pretty hard to afford. So that's my comment.
David, very good. Thank you. Folks, anybody else want to engage the council on this topic? Councilors, in your hands, please. Yes, Councilor Neitzert?
To David's point, I do agree that I don't like barriers to entry either. Could you just clarify, this is really, I don't think it's really mechanically changing anything. This is already what's occurring. We're just kind of clarifying and getting it codified. Is that fair?
Correct. All of our commercial and demolition waste haulers currently do get a license currently. Okay. Because most of them will haul municipal solid waste, and that does require a license currently.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Any other discussion, folks?
Move for approval.
Thank you.
Second, Neitzert.
Thank you. Councilor Vice Chair Kylie's made a motion to approve this item, seconded by Councilor Neitzert. Thank you. A roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Staley?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Neitzert?
Yes.
Rolfing? Yes. Selberg?
Yes.
Starr?
Yes.
That has passed 7-0. Item 32.
Second reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, amending Chapter 57, Garbage and Recycling, Subchapter Sanitary Landfill of the Code of Ordinances of the city pertaining to vehicle inspections.
This proposed ordinance would require licensed haulers to have a vehicle inspection that meets the 49 CFR DOT standard. So if you did have a commercial license, you would have to receive a vehicle inspection before licensing period. With that, I'll take any questions.
Thank you, folks. Again, a second reading. Anybody want to engage the council on this topic? Councilors? Yes. Oh, Tim, did you want to speak? Or, sir?
Talking to some of the garbage haulers out there, which I know I went to school with a bunch of them. I guess the thing is, where do we stop? There's a lot of other vehicles that are on the road today in Sioux Falls. I know that last week it was brought up about the tree trimmers that are not only that are certified to cut down trees. You got, I mean, there's so many. But the thing is, for the DOT, I think there's a law that states that if you go outside of the city limits 50 miles, then it's got to be DOT inspected. I think that's pretty much already taken care of, but a lot of these guys that are in business today, they're not in business to leave their vehicles go downhill. If they see something that is mechanically wrong with that vehicle, they usually take care of it right now, at least the ones that I know. Now, if we're having problems with one or two haulers, then that's when you deal with the one or two haulers. I think on the ordinance itself, I think it pretty much takes care of what we're trying to do. But what we're trying, I mean, I guess the thing is we make people get DOT, it costs them money. They're going to put the money onto the people that are paying the bill. And I just think that we got to look at it a different way. I think this should be put off to a different day because, again, last week with Christine, she realized that it's an overreach on what the city was going to go after the haulers on being able to be bonded. Well, it's not on the garbage haulers to even take that on. It should be the city's job to collect the money. I understand. I know all about what happened. It was one garbage hauler, and we're making all of them pay for it. But I guess the thing is what I look at is DOT inspection. Anytime you go out of the city limits 50 miles, it's automatically DOT'd with any business. And I just look at it as, let's don't hold one garbage truck hauler and make all the other ones have to make up the difference.
That's good testimony, Tim. Good job. Folks, anybody else want to engage the council before I go to the council? Very good. Councilors? Yes, Councilor Erickson or Councilor Staley? Councilor Staley?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, and I was going to, two things. We had talked last week about the tree trimmers needing to have that DOT inspection, and I also asked about like a company like Merlin Roy's that might be driving concrete trucks around the city. And then secondly, I did want to say that I've had an opportunity to visit with many of the garbage handlers, haulers in our community, and I think across the board they were okay with this inspection. But I did hear them resonating that they were hoping that it could be possibly offered in a way that would have a lower fee, if there was some way we could work with that so that it wouldn't be a big hardship on them. That was one of their requests. So with that, I would like that information about these other vehicles being licensed.
Yeah, the city currently doesn't require any inspections on arborists or contractors doing work for the city, unless, obviously, if they meet the 26,000 pounds gross volume weight, they'd have to be DOT inspected.
Is that good? Okay, very good. Councilor Erickson?
I think I might have asked this last time, but are all the trucks over that weight or some of them under that limit?
No, there's some under that limit, yes.
Okay. And then can you tell me what happens if I am in a surrounding town and I'm bringing solid waste? Do I need to be inspected as well?
Yep, if you're using the City of Sioux Falls landfill.
So if I'm from Brandon, T, whatever, I need to use it.
If in our 5-county service area, correct.
Okay. Thank you for that. And just to clarify, I know you just said the arborists, we don't have them licensed with the city or any of that unless they're over that amount.
That's correct.
Okay. I don't have a question, but my hesitation with this is if there are those trigger points for this in there already, if they're over that poundage, that's already in there. And so I'm concerned because the way that it was pitched to us is that these are people using it and doing services and they're contracting and hauling the waste to the landfill, but we don't require it for tree trimmers. We don't require it for others that do contract with the city. So it's somewhat, in my opinion, a little bit of an unlevel playing field that we are asking some to do it but not others. So if we're going to do it for all, or don't do it for anyone, unless there's already those triggers in there. So I'm having a little bit of a little anxiety over this, I guess.
Can I speak to that a little
Yes,
bit?
please.
With garbage haulers, you have them driving down our streets every single week. There's garbage trucks down there on the streets. With arborists and contractors, typically not. And if it's a contractor and if it's a city project, typically there's a project manager overseeing that.
So can I ask a follow-up?
Yes.
So how many garbage haulers do we have, and how many of those garbage haulers are over that poundage, over that whatever ton? For example, Novak has great big trucks. They're already over it. They're already doing it. They're already fulfilling this. And there's some other, I think Waste Management is quite large vehicles, but there are some that aren't as large. So I'm curious, as far as out of this, say, X number of haulers, how many would this impact, because so many are already doing it? Because they're also not doing that magnitude of the industry. How much does, I hate to use names, but how much does Novak have, or Sandman, or there's all these different haulers that you'd think in that market, there's, like any business, X amount is done by X amount of people.
I would say probably over 50% are already over that 26,000 pound gross volume weight, and we currently have 21 licensed haulers that haul residential waste.
Councilor Neitzer.
I would just say that I'm thinking about the fact that the garbage hauler's livelihood depends on keeping these vehicles operational, and that this cost is going to be passed on. So, thank you.
Councilor Starr.
Yes, I agree. I think we're taking, the federal government has put regulations, the Department of Transportation has put these regulations on, and now we're expanding them on a local level to increase the amount of regulation that we're doing. And I'm not going to be able to vote for this as part of that, for that reason, to the continued expansion of regulation.
Councilors, does anybody want to make a motion so that we could vote on it?
Move to approve, Erickson.
Thank you. Thank you. Councilor Erickson's made a motion to approve, seconded by Councilor Rolfing. If there's no other discussion, a roll call vote, please.
Council members Staley,
No.
Erickson,
No.
Kiley,
Yes.
Neitzer,
No.
Rolfing,
Yes.
Selberg,
No.
Starr.
No.
That has failed 2-5. Item 33.
Item 33, second reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, amending the Code of Ordinances of the city by amending Chapter 111, alcoholic beverages, by creating an official city waiting list of off-sale liquor license applicants.
Good evening, Jamie Palmer with licensing. This proposed ordinance creates a waiting list for the off-sale liquor licenses or liquor applicants. Anyone interested will be asked to submit an application plus a $50 non-refundable fee. Those names that or the people that have applied will be placed in a drawing, and they will be drawn and placed in order on a waiting list. If a license becomes available, I would offer it to the first person on the list. I do want to clarify that this ordinance does not increase the number of licenses that the city is allowed to issue, which is 104. It merely creates a waiting list for anyone interested in a license. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Jamie, thank you. Folks, anybody want to engage the council on this topic? Councilors?
Move to approve, Erickson. Second.
Councilor Erickson's made a motion to approve this item, seconded by Councilor Staley. Councilor Starr?
Yep. Jamie, what happens now? We don't currently have a list, so if one becomes available, what does a business or a citizen do to get the license, or how do we decide who that license goes to if one opens up?
Well, I'm hoping this ordinance will get put in place before that happens. Because right now,
Thinking I'm okay with that answer. But.
Yeah, right now I honestly don't know. That's why it was important for this ordinance to get put into place. Normally, when I have licenses available, it's just first come, first serve. So I would have to consult the attorney on that.
Very good. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Staley,
Yes.
Erickson,
Yes.
Kiley,
Yes.
Neitzer,
Yes.
Rolfing, Selberg,
Yes.
Starr.
Yes.
That is passed 7-0. Thank you, Council. Item 34.
Item 34, second reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, providing supplemental appropriations. Parks and Recreation, $684,000.
Don, welcome.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council members. Thank you. Don Kearney with Parks and Recreation. This is a supplemental appropriation that would allow us to use donated funds from the Zoo Society for the Brown Bear exhibit in the amount of $550,000. And then it would also allow us to use donated funds from Levitt Shell Sioux Falls in the amount of $134,000 for the design of the Levitt Shell and Falls Park West improvements.
Thanks, Don. Did anybody want to engage the council on this topic? Councilors?
Move to approve, Erickson.
Councilor Erickson's made a motion to approve this item, seconded by Council Chair Rolfing. If there is no discussion on roll call vote, please.
Council members Staley?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Nitzert?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Starr?
Yes.
That is passed 7-0. Item 35.
Item 35, set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, November 1st, 2016 at 7 p.m. An ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property south of East 57th Street and west of South Sycamore Avenue from the RD2 Townhome Residential, Suburban, CN Conservation, and LW Live Work Districts to the RD2 Townhome Residential, Suburban, CN Conservation, and LW Live Work Districts, petition number 5329-2016, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval 7-0.
Hi, Diane.
Good evening. Diane DeCoyer with Planning and Building Services. The applicant and owner for this is Mike Barber. The property is located to the southwest of South Sycamore Avenue and East 61st Street. The total size of the three parcels are 36.5 acres. The amount of multifamily is staying relatively the same as what was rezoned here a few months back. Roughly half of the 15 acres of live work is being shifted from South Sycamore to the west adjacent to South Greystone Avenue. The applicant is also increasing the conservation area for drainage. I can answer any questions you might have.
Diane, thank you. Councilors, questions or comments?
Move to approve, Erickson.
Thank you.
Second.
Councilor Erickson's made a motion to set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, November 1st for this item, seconded by Councilor Staley. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Staley?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Nitzert?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Starr?
Yes.
That is passed 7-0. Thank you, Council. Item 36.
Set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, November 1st, 2016 at 7 p.m. for item 36. An ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at 1200 East 3rd Street from the S1 General Institutional District to the C3 Commercial Community District, petition number 5397-2016, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends denial 4-3.
The applicant and owner for this is Kedar Sadat. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. It's located at the northeast corner of East 3rd Street and North Cliff Avenue. You'd recognize it as the old Joe Foss School. The size of the parcel is 1.73 acres. The purpose is to redevelop it to commercial on the first floor and offices on the second floor. Staff and Planning Commission recommended denial because the proposed zoning does not meet the 2035 Shape Sioux Falls Comprehensive Plan with C3 at this location. It's usually reserved for properties located on two major arterial streets and within a major community commercial area. In addition, the site will not support the additional parking requirements for the commercial density. With the proposed use, the ordinance requires 163 parking spaces. The applicant provided a parking study that was prepared by Traffic Impact Group out of Minnesota. The submitted study indicates that they're short by 38 spaces, which is about 33% of the requirement. The plan indicates 18 new spaces to the south of the building. However, they are shown in the setback and they wouldn't be able to meet the buffer yard requirement at that location as well. So I can answer any questions to that you might have.
Thanks, Diane. Councilors, any questions on this? Yes, Councilor Nitzert.
At the Planning Commission, there was a comment by the applicant that they would need to request a variance for a buffer yard. Do you know what they were referring to?
For the buffer...
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, on the south side there, that is where they're adjacent to residential, and that's where they would have to request to have the buffer yard basically eliminated to provide that parking in that location.
What would be the required buffer yard level D?
A level A.
Just a level A?
Just a level A. Yeah. Oh, excuse me, that is not correct. Hold on just one second.
I would think it would be a C or a D, probably.
I would think it is a C or a D, and it's just noted in here with the concept plan. As it is, if the parking was not changed there to the south, then they would have to provide the buffer yard. But if it's just rezoned as a C3 and no parking was changing on that south side, they would not have to provide a buffer yard.
Yeah, because it's only triggered once you start making changes.
Right, yes. But you're correct, then it would be a level D.
Very good.
Has there been have they talked about providing an accessory off-site parking? Do they have any?
They haven't gone that route with us yet.
Okay.
They'd have to do a conditional use if they wanted to do off-site parking. I think in this area it might be difficult to find a location. Typically you want that within 250 feet of the building itself. And what's surrounding this for the most part is residential, with the exception of maybe crossing over to Cliff Avenue, where there's some C2 that it looks like they have quite a bit of parking. But again, it just depends on if they can pick up the required parking, if somebody has that much available to them.
Yeah, and I think the code does say, I think it has to be within 250 feet. I don't think you can go outside of that.
Right.
I guess something I'll be thinking about is, as a city council, we control the zoning and therefore the use. Once you do that, you lose control of the rest, such as bulk regulation. Somebody could conceivably get it rezoned and go ask for a variance and reduce the parking as much as they want, and that is not something that we would have any jurisdiction over. So we have to think about, is this the right place to put C3? So just throwing that out there. Thank you.
Good job. Counselor? Yes, Counselor Erickson.
Diane, a couple questions. I'm curious if, when we're talking about the parking spaces, I mean, it's very important, the parking, to have that available. But my question is if we've ever made another rezone and allowed a lesser amount than what is generally accepted. So have we ever done a concession that says, yeah, you know what, we need 38 more spaces, but we feel this is the right rezone, so we're just going to say it's okay? I mean, do we do that? Do we allow if you can add 10 more, then we're okay? Or how does that work?
They have
to get a variance.
Yeah, I'm not sure that we have approved anything with this kind of a concession to parking, considering it's like 33% of the required parking, which is considerable.
Right. Okay, so then it's S1 right now. So what's the parking requirement for S1?
S1 as general institutional, they would be allowed.
There's a lot of cars at schools. I'm just saying, I park a block and a half away from my child's school to walk to my son's school that I work in twice a week.
And again, it depends on what type of school. There's different requirements if it's elementary, middle, or high school. As it was as an elementary school, it obviously met the parking requirements. There's 45 parking stalls on site there now. There are other options that the applicant could consider for this site, and we did try to meet with him and suggest some of those options with the concern that we had with the parking that he's showing for this, since it's, way out of bounds from what we would accept.
If I may again, Mr. Mayor, because this is C3. However, we've got C2 up and down the street. If you go back to the other one that shows all the rezone in the area and the blob there, yes. And so really, I mean, we have C2 by C3 in other places, right?
Usually our C3 is at major intersections. The closest C3 to this location is actually down at East 10th Street and Cliff, and that's the Lewis Drug.
And so it has to be C3 based on the amount of work that he wants to do in Joe Foss.
Based on the amount of square footage. So if it was a C2, they could go up to 25,000, but this is 41,000 square feet. So that's why it's required to be a C3 for them to develop it.
Okay. I would love for us to find a way to make this happen based on, revitalizing that area and making it look nicer than what it looks like right now. And so to be able to find a way, and it sounds as if you've talked about some different options. Maybe I'll give you a buzz and we can talk. I just would like to know more about those options so I can.
I can review a couple of quick statistics with you that we've reviewed. If they wanted to do office, they could get 13,500 square feet of office and meet the parking requirement with the existing 45 stalls. They could also do some limited retail of about 4,000 square feet, but that would then only allow them about 5,000 square feet of office, again, to meet the parking requirement as it is. They could also consider doing apartments, and based on the ratio, number of bedrooms, I've actually sketched something out. They can meet their numbers with parking for this if it were to be apartments. Right. So there are some different things that could work. It just depends on what the applicant, which route they want to go with it.
Right, and if the applicant intended to have this be they probably don't want to build apartments, or, depending on their business plan, it's all in the numbers of how they can get the best bang for their buck and what their vision is for their small business of making it happen. So, okay, thank you. I appreciate your help.
Sure.
Council Chair?
Thank you. Diane, what other options have they looked at for parking? I noticed there's 3 vacant lots to the north. They looked at potentially purchasing those for parking. The other thing that I noticed is there's a church, I believe it's Faith Lutheran kitty corner from them, that would possibly love to rent some of their parking spaces during the week that would allow them to continue doing what they're doing and pick up lots. I'm with Christine,
sure.
Or Councilor Erickson. I really want to see this thing go through and find a way to get it done. And so I think there's some other things that need to be looked at here before we just say no.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, it would be a great opportunity to get this developed. I do not have the answer whether the other staff person that has been working with this applicant, if they've had any discussions about using the parking at the adjacent church, but we'll definitely find that out by the time we have second reading.
And then let us know before the second reading?
Yes.
Assuming there is a second reading.
If the applicant here, and I know it's the first reading, but if the applicant's here, can we ask them those questions?
Diane, is the applicant here?
No.
Okay, never mind.
That's interesting. Okay, very good. Before I go to you, Councilor Neisert, if you folks, did anybody else want to engage Diane before I go back to Councilor Neisert? Councilor Neisert.
And just to be clear, I'd love to see this happen too. I just want to make sure that it's going to work. So to clarify something, you were talking about if they did X thousand square feet of office, and so are you saying that if they did, I mean, could they conceivably say, well, instead of doing 41,000 square feet, we'll only convert half of it? Would you allow that and calculate the parking based on that?
Certainly those are options, but the problem is that that is just for this applicant. Once it's rezoned, if that's permitted to a C3, somebody a year from now, the building could be sold. It's already been zoned as C3. Somebody else could develop it and want to do all retail, and it had been already approved. So
what if one was to condition the rezone? I mean, like no more than 25. That's been done before.
Yes.
No more than 25,000 square feet of commercial.
Correct.
Or.
Yep.
I mean, that would survive and transfer with the owner, I would think.
Yeah, I believe you could do that as well. Yeah.
And I hope we do think outside of the box. So.
The other thing, we just have to consider is because that's residential quite a bit to the south and the east there, and without adequate parking, people are parking on the street, and then, the concern from the neighbors of that, so.
That is my major concern is cars lined up in front of residences, so.
Mr. Mayor, I would move
Councilor.
that we set second reading for Tuesday, November 1st on item number 36.
Very good. There's been a motion to set that date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, November 1st, and it has been seconded. Councilor Staley.
One more question. If this would, let's say that this went through, and he was able to develop this the way he wanted to, and it all worked out, and then let's say he didn't make it, and then he sells it, and someone takes that building down and puts something else up there. Could we be doing something that would forever lock that in? then, I mean, and somebody wants to build a gas station there instead. Is that ever going to be a problematic thing? I mean, are we addressing just that building?
That's
Or are
always
we-
the problem with allowing, and again, we don't typically permit or want to see a C3 type of zoning unless it's at a major intersection, which this is not.
So someone could rip that building down and build something else the same, with the
Because
same
it would be zoned
footprint,
as
and then have
C3.
something
Yeah.
like a Shields there or something, or, well, I mean, just, it could open the door to who knows what, right?
But depending on what the condition might be, if that's put on the rezone, as Councilor Neitzer mentioned, with restricting the amount of parking or restricting the amount of square footage, that could be problematic in the future for anybody to develop it.
A roll call vote, please.
Council members Staley?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Neitzer?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Starr?
Yes.
Thank you. That is passed 7-0. Item 37.
Set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, November 1st, 2016 at 7 p.m. for item 37. An ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at 7820 South Brandy Avenue from the AG Agriculture District to the RS Single Family Residential Suburban District, petition number 5555-2016, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval 7-0.
The applicant is Kelly Nielsen. The owner is Rod Ballou, located south of West 85th Street and east of South Brandy Avenue in the Pinewood Addition. The size of the parcel is 1.15 acres, and the purpose is to develop the lot for a single family. I can answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Diane. Councilor Erickson.
Can you flip back a screen, please? That shows more the overview. So where are we? I mean, I see 2 gravel roads. Assuming those would be done, how many houses are we looking at, and where are the 2 access points getting out of the development?
The only thing that's being rezoned is that's identified as ag. That's the 1.15 acres for a single-family home, for one home.
For one home, that's
Yes.
it. Okay, thank
Sorry,
you.
I
I'm
didn't
sorry, I
make that clear.
misunderstood that part. Thank you. I'll move to set the second reading to Tuesday, November 1st.
Second.
Councilors, thank you very much. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Staley?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Neitzer?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Starr?
Yes.
That is passed 7-0. Item 38.
Set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, November 1st, 2016 at 7 p.m. for item 38. An ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, amending the Code of Ordinances of the city regarding UTI forms, microcell towers.
The applicant in this is the City of Sioux Falls Planning Office. The request is to amend the UT utility form to allow the provisions of microcell towers. With the increasing use of cellular devices, the need for increased tower technology has increased. The smaller towers or microcell towers are approximately 30 feet in height and would be allowed in single-family or AD and DD form areas. I can answer any questions you might have.
Move to set the reading for Tuesday, November 1st.
Second, Selberg.
Councilor Erickson, thank you for making that motion. Seconded by Councilor Selberg. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Staley?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Neitzer?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Starr?
Yes.
Thank you. That is passed 7-0. Item 39.
Item 39, a resolution amending the 2016-2020 capital program.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Tracy Turback with the Finance Office. This resolution will amend the capital plan related to 3 projects. The second and third ones listed on the resolution you've addressed earlier tonight with a supplemental appropriation. Those projects being the brown bear exhibit at the zoo and the design of the Levitt Shell at Falls Park West. The third item included in this resolution, the first one listed in the resolution, would add a radio system for the Washington Pavilion to the plan. This was not included in the supplemental appropriation because it does not require any additional budget authority. Don Kearney is still here if you've got questions related to the parks items, and a representative from the pavilion is here as well if you've got questions on that.
Folks, did anybody want to engage the council on this topic? Councilors? Councilor Neisert.
Could somebody just, does radios just mean like walkie-talkies for the employees, essentially? Communications? Okay, thank you.
And would you mind, the gentleman nodding his head in the audience, would you just come forward just so, appreciate that.
John Lose, Vice President Operations for the Washington Pavilion. Yeah, it's walkie-talkies. It's replacing the current ones we have.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, John. Appreciate it.
Mayor, while he's
yes,
still
Councilor
there,
Starr.
just do. John, are we moving the funds from?
Currently, it's entertainment tax, and it just funds available in that tax.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Appreciate it. Would anybody want to make a motion on this?
Move to approve.
Councilor Starr, thank you.
Second, Rolfing.
Council Chair Rolfing, thank you. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Staley?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Neitzer?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Starr?
Yes.
That has passed 7-0. Thank you, Councilors. Item 40.
Item 40, a resolution including certain contiguous territory within the corporate limits of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Annexation 4274-2016, Tract 1 of Evangelical Covenant Church Edition, 33rd Street and Veterans Parkway.
Council, Mayor, Albert Schmidt, Planning Office.
Hi, Albert.
This is a petition annexation for an existing place of worship that the city initiated discussions with for annexation. The area was identified by our annexation program for 2016, and the applicant and staff have come to terms on an annexation agreement that was included that meets the needs of the applicant and the requirements of the city. City staff will initiate a rezoning in 2017 to a residential zoning district, and the applicant has, I believe, is here, represented here if you have questions.
Thank you. Thank you. Folks, anybody want to engage the council on this topic? Great. Welcome, sir. Good to have you here.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. I'm Mark Exey. I'm a member of the Church Council for Prairie Hills Covenant Church. I wanted to just take a moment and extend our appreciation for the work that city planning has done, as well as the city attorney's office. It's been a very collaborative effort, and I think it will be beneficial for everyone.
Thank you. Mark, thank you very much. Appreciate that.
You can't imagine how nice that is to hear. Thank you.
And voluntary, too.
And
is
voluntary,
good.
too.
Yeah. Very good. Would anybody want to make a motion on this item?
I will.
Thank you, Council Chair.
Second, Neitzer.
Thank you, Councilor Neitzer. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Staley?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Neitzer? Rolfing?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Starr?
Yes.
That has passed 7-0. Thank you very much, Mark. Appreciate it. Item 41.
Item 41, a resolution including certain contiguous territory within the corporate limits of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Annexation 4841-2016, Tract 12 of Berkey Tracks, South Klein Avenue and West 48th Street.
This is another petition annexation for a single-family dwelling that the city initiated annexation discussions with. The area was identified by our annexation program for 2016, and the applicants and staff have come to terms on annexation agreement. This meets also the needs of the applicant and the city requirements as well. City staff will initiate a rezoning in 2017 to a residential zoning district for this particular property.
Albert, thank you. Did anybody want to engage the council on this one? Pretty good. Councilors?
Move approval, Rolfing.
Second, Selberg.
Council Chair, thank you. Councilor Selberg, thank you for the second. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Staley?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Neitzer?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Starr?
Yes.
That has passed 7-0. Item 42.
Item 42, a resolution authorizing Sioux Falls Fire Rescue to gift 2 defibrillators to Stickney Volunteer Fire Department, Incorporated.
We have no one here from fire, other than I can tell you that at the meeting the other day, there was a question that was asked, I think by you, Council Chair, and it was basically, could we utilize these in some other way in the City of Sioux Falls? And the answer was no, but they felt that the Stickney Volunteer Fire Department would use them, at least for their useful life.
They were too advanced, as I remember, for just putting on a wall of a building, and they needed special training. So I would move approval.
Thank you, Councilor.
Second, Starr.
You know what? Is there anybody in the audience who wants to speak to this item?
You're right.
That was a no. I got a council chair made the motion. Councilor Starr seconded it. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Staley?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Neitzer?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Starr?
Yes.
That has passed 7-0. Thank you, Council. Item 43.
Item 43, a resolution advising and giving consent to the appointment of members to certain citizen boards. Be it resolved by the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, that it gives its advice and consent to the following mayoral appointments: Julie Schneibly, Airport Authority Board; Kimberly Elbers, Civil Service Board.
Thank you both. Did anyone want to speak to this item? Councilors, any motions or questions?
Move approval, Rolfing.
Second, Kylie.
Council Chair Rolfing's made a motion to approve this item, seconded by Council Vice Chair Kiley. If there's no discussion, a roll call vote, please.
Council members Staley?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Kiley?
Yes.
Neitzert?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Starr?
Yes.
That is passed 7-0. Thank you. Councilors, any new business? There's been a motion to adjourn by Councilor Erickson, seconded by Councilor Staley. Very good. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This meeting is adjourned. Sioux Falls. Make it a great, great night.